This is the stuff dreams are made of. I'm writer-collector Ryan Condal.
And I'm writer-collector Dave Mandel, and you're listening to the original movie prop collecting podcast brought to you by Heritage Auctions, HA.com. And they've got the big Stuart Berkowitz TV collection coming to you October 24th, live auction in, I think, Dallas, Texas, but I'm not sure where it is. But you go to HA.com, check out the Stuart Berkowitz collection. This is perhaps the
Live bidding, at least.
Yeah, the premier 60s television collection. Original series Batman, Gilligan's Island, I Dream of Jeannie, Lost in Space, Star Trek, plus some of the most incredible Honeymooners stuff.
Honeymooners, yeah.
Pre-60s. Ralph Cramden, Jackie Gleason, Honeymooners. Pretty incredible. Go to HA.com, check it out. The Stuart Berkowitz collection, live auction October 24th. And then there's an online component of bidding as well. But live auction October 24th. Check that out. And we will be featuring all of that on our YouTube channel, and we'll be going through the catalog as well, and some of that with our good friend, TV expert, 60s TV expert, Rob Klein. So that's all coming down the Stuff Dreams Are Made Of pike. How are you, Ryan?
Oh, very good. That was such a good intro, Dave. You're really...
It almost seemed rehearsed, and yet...
Bringing it along. Yeah. Looks like you were reading off a teleprompter there. I'm very impressed, but I know you're just bidding on eBay.
Oh, I won. Oh, wait. What's going on?
All good. By the time Stuart Berkowitz's auction goes live, we will be done filming.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Bravo.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Well, no, we're not there yet.
Almost.
I might be dead still.
Right.
I have.
No, congratulations on that, too.
As of the time of this recording, I still have 20 days left, so anything can happen in those 20 days. But we are winding down. We have 2 gigantic set pieces that we are shooting still this week on location. But after that, and then we will begin the actual wind down. The Buck unit is live again. We always know when Buck unit comes online at the end of production, that means you're near the end.
Because they're sweeping up stuff, so to speak. Is that what Buck is doing?
Yeah, it's sort of like a lot of the previs actually takes that amount of time to get validated because they animate the previs, which is like a really complicated animatic, essentially the way they used to do with just like animated storyboards back in like Empire Strikes Back when you're doing the walker fights. It's just like that. It's done in sort of crappy 90s video game technology, but with this, the way the dragon flies, it affects the movement of the buck. So the flap of the wings, the way it turns, the way the light hits them. So after the previs is all settled on with me and the directors, then visual effect and then the lenses are chosen and all that stuff has to be done. Then the visual effects team takes it over to the Buck unit, and they have to program not only the Buck, but also the motion control camera, the robot camera, to do all these moves in a way that is safe for the actor and repeatable, and that it matches the previs animation. So this stuff takes kind of weeks and weeks to set up. So the previs is sort of slowly developed and approved over the course of the season, and then at the very end, you just kind of load in all the Buck stuff. It tends to be
Buck stuff, yeah.
Just back to back to back. You get the unit running. Basically, the Buck runs by character, so it's like, well, okay,
everything with his character,
and
that way, it's when he isn't needed over on whatever unit or whatever, and they roll in.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of gets scheduled. It sort of schedules favoring the Buck because it just takes the saddle on and off.
The Buck is number one on the call sheet.
Right.
So yeah,
right. Yes. The
Can
Buck
I ask
stops.
an odd question?
There.
I don't know why I was thinking about this, and I should know this. In your visual vocabulary of the House of the Dragon universe, possibly unto yourself, but also possibly connected to somewhat of the look of the original Game of Thrones, do you guys do lens flares? I was trying to remember in my mind. I don't know why I was thinking about that. Actually, I do know why. I was listening to there's a Lucasfilm podcast now, or like an ILM podcast, and they did an episode all about lens flares, about creating them and real ones and the history of lens flares. And I don't know, it got me thinking, do you guys ever flare the lens? Is that on purpose, by accident, or? We
use anamorphic lenses now, which I think was a change in season 2. We did not in season 1. As you know, those create more better lens flares,
but obviously you can fight them if you like Roger
Yes.
Deakins does not believe in lens flares, apparently.
Yes.
So
look through the stuff. You will not see a lot. I think when you do see them, they are actual lens flares.
Gotcha. You're not adding any, but if in your shot the sun is there, it's
right.
okay. Okay,
right.
That's cool.
And maybe the dragon, if the dragon is flying into the sun or something.
That's what I was thinking about, the dragon either coming at you or going away in the sun.
We've for sure done that. And obviously in that case, the sun is artificial because it's done in the interactive screen, the interactive lighting, whatever. Yes, I imagine there are lens flares in the show. I don't think there's as many lens flares as you would see in 2009 Star Trek.
Right. They talk actually in the podcast. By the way, highly recommend the ILM podcast. Like I said, this was their lens flare episode. I think it was their final episode of 20. I've listened to a couple. Very enjoyable, especially if you're a film fan, like I think a lot of our fans are of this show. They talk about like being very proud of that look, and at the time it was not something anyone had done, and then the fact that everybody then wanted everything to look like that. All the movies that sort of copied it, they sort of almost in a way not ruined it, but like sort of it became a cliche that wasn't a cliche. Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Especially,
look, I think
especially by the way. I was just going to, especially in the outer space stuff, where I guess adding lens flares to the outer space shots. Again, maybe 2001 a little bit, maybe a little bit of Close Encounters, but certainly not something that people had been doing in the space shot. Anyway, very interesting list.
I mean, Ridley Scott, Doug Trumbull, Blade Runner. That's the origin of that, and especially with the police lights and things. Yeah. And I just think that became such a part of the aesthetic. Like the cliche is not JJ. It's the cliche is it begins with Blade Runner.
Yes, I think the cliche was JJ did it, and then everybody went to do it.
Everybody jumped on. Yeah, right.
Anyway, very, very interesting. I was actually, speaking of storyboards, I was going to tell you another fascinating or oddly fascinating thing. My son is taking a video arts class at his high school, and they showed us this assignment they did, which I thought was really cool, which was they took a scene from an existing thing, so an existing movie or whatever, and they had to hand draw the storyboards of watching the shots, of basically making the storyboards. Then the storyboards were passed off to another team who had no idea what the storyboards were from, and they had to shoot the scene and again, no dialogue or whatever, but they had to shoot the scene based on the storyboards, and then it's sort of like almost like a telephone game of storyboards, and then they could compare at the end the storyboards to the finished shot. And I was just like,
oh, interesting.
I would have loved to have done something like that. And my storyboards are stick figures. They make Ridley Graham's look very ornate and photorealistic. But anyway, I don't know why that when you said storyboards and previs, I guess I was happy to see that they didn't just start them on previs, that they actually had them hand drawing storyboards and whatever. Anyway, wherever.
Yeah, I mean, we still do run with a bunch of hand drawn storyboards. There was this particular storyboard artist that worked for us this season who I just love his style of art, and it makes it for me, storyboards can be hard. For me as the showrunner, storyboards can be hard depending on the artist to immerse yourself in, because it's so from the mind of the director. And then the ones that I find the easiest are very kind of, for lack of a better word, very comic booky. Some people draw these very flat and like no perspective storyboards, which are fine, but you really do have to kind of you have to talk to the director and actually have them narrate. So what, kind of what you're seeing, and because it's a lot of times it's key frames. It's not every frame that you're going through. But there's one artist that actually that did a big episode for us this year. Hand drawn artist. I want to try to get the boards from him after the season, because they're just so beautiful and so cinematic, and I just immediately was able to see the whole sequence before we prevised anything. I mean, I didn't, we needed the previs for the technical side, but I was like, yeah, I'm good. This is gonna be great. So it's just neat, because I mean, we probably have 8 or 9 different storyboard artists that come in and out, because they're highly in demand still. Yep. Because there's so much previs going on. I think they're probably more in demand now than they were, in the early era when only summer blockbusters were getting CG, just because there's so much previs happening, and so many of these things are sequenced out.
Yeah, even if it's not a
before-
giant movie, I think people are prevising just to sort of like be economical. Like if we previs everything and figure out our shots and develop shot lists and whatnot, we can have a more sort of maybe smaller days.
Shoot
and,
to the cut.
figure. How do we figure that out? Not overshoot, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, fascinating. If I do get those, certainly
we would
we'll
love
share them.
to see one of those. That'd be
I did
very
actually. I grabbed the entire Battle of the Stepstones sequence at the end of season 1, so I have that. Every
here
original
on
frame.
the YouTube is a picture of it. Oh my God, look at that! Oh my God, that's gorgeous. Yeah.
Now I have to dig them out. So I did that, but I neglected to grab anything in season 2. But I did flag these as something that I want to go and get. And it's a nice way to take care of the artist too at the end of the day, because they have all these things, but they're just they're not in demand the way like original comic art is after a great comic book comes out. And I think these artists are just as talented.
Oh, very much so. And by the way, sometimes there's a couple of them that actually have their own indie
Crossover.
books. Yes, that you definitely bump into, like at San Diego, and it's like, I know that name or whatever. So yeah, I was laughing. My production designer on White House Plumbers gave me a gift at the end of production, and it makes me laugh to this day. She basically had a drawing that I gave her. She had it framed and gave it back to me, and it's literally like Stonehenge, in Spinal Tap, where it's like here's the napkin and here's what Stonehenge is, and they kind of do build it, but no, I'd like to think she appreciated it, but I think she laughed at how crude my drawings were. But anyway, it's yes. So
would our equivalent of that just be like at the very end of production, you frame all the dialogue suggestions the studio gave you and just hand it back to them as a gift?
Just the notes document. Here you go. I don't get this. I don't like our guy for this. Damon is evil. It's like, yeah, I understand. He's a bad guy.
Is he that evil?
Does he always have to be so evil and like so blonde? Yes.
What's with the blonde hair?
Yeah.
What's
new in props?
I actually have a good one today. I brought a show and tell.
Ooh.
I've been really on a roll with these lately. It's easy
I
to
actually
just
realized
throw it
I have a
next to my
show
computer.
and tell that I didn't even realize I have a show and tell, but I see if I can get to it, or I'll have someone
have
hand it.
it?
You keep going. I'll see if I can.
All right. So I picked this up this week from a very kind friend of mine here in the UK prop collecting circuit. Does anybody know what this is?
I do.
If here's a clue, it holds M40 grenades. Yes, it's a T2 Arnold grenade bandolier. That I'm very excited to have.
Yes, you told me about this again, as always. Super jealous in a wonderful, wonderful way. Really cool.
Has not been matched, but always life and hope spring eternal. The collector that I got it from also has a T2 jacket. Had 2 bandoliers. He's the David Mandel of Terminator 2 with his multiple
bandoliers.
Stormtrooper helmet.
He has a collection of 80 bandoliers, but no jacket.
Bandolier man. And ironically, the bandolier that he has that he's keeping, it matches to my jacket. So it's the one over my jacket in the match. So, as these things go, but he very kindly offered this up. We're working something out. And I have it. It's mine. I'm awesome.
No, that is wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
My wife handed me my What's New in Props, so I'm able to actually, I guess I could have gotten up and just left the frame. No one would have known on the
Dave's been served
podcast.
with papers right here live on the podcast.
No, the marriage is stronger than ever post not winning the
The lightsaber, I imagine.
the lightsaber, yes. That's like she got a gift of millions of dollars. So this is an unboxing here. This came from the UK. It was I bought it, and it was picked up by our good friends actually at Prop Store, brought to you by Heritage, but they picked it up for me because they were over there. And I may have mentioned this, but I'm gonna. So it is a Christmas card, and it is a Christmas card. As I open it up, from. Can you see that?
Stanley Kubrick. Yeah,
Stanley
look
Kubrick.
at that.
Yeah. So Stanley Kubrick Christmas card, and I'll show this obviously on the. We'll put a picture up of that as well. I've seen these before. They sort of bounced around, not whatever, not a huge ticket item, and it ended up in one of the smaller auctions in the UK, where I think I got a nice price on it. So that's always a good thing. I just, again, in the world of Stanley Kubrick, where you're certainly not going to have a lot, I don't know. There's just something about that lunatic sending out Christmas cards, and I mean that in a great way. You know what I mean? Just like, and I like the idea that maybe like for that one card, he signed like 70 of them, to like 70 takes to get the signature just right or something like that. So Stanley Kubrick Christmas card, I was very pleased.
Fantastic.
With that. Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think I'm gonna frame it up, even though you won't be able to really see the card part. I think I'm gonna frame it open with like its Christmas message.
It's
or
not like
something
he drew
that.
the card or something.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Although I think the choice is interesting too. Like it's a very, I don't know. It's a very painterly. It's a guy on like skates or something or whatever he is. But I don't know. It's very pretty, very serene. I don't know what I think his Christmas card should look like.
Maybe you could search around and see if you could find that card.
Oh, that's interesting.
Sure. and just put that in the frame next to the, folded up.
It's also possible to do it, just mounted between two pieces of clear, like frame it so that the back is both the front and the back are glass or plexi or whatever, so that you could at least flip it over and see the back. You could
really also scan the front, high quality,
and just
print it,
and
just put it in the frame.
I think as long as it was on a nice piece of paper.
I mean, there's nothing special about the card.
There is nothing on it. I think it would be just about getting it printed onto card stock, or at least a thicker paper, so that you're not seeing sort of the ridges and the waves of the paper that distracts you, where you're going like, oh, that's just a copy. You want it just to look solid. But anyway, to be figured out. But like I said, a very not a lightsaber, but almost as good.
Nearly as good.
Yeah,
nearly
almost as expensive. So so that was good.
You know what's great? Pee Wee Herman.
Oh my God! Speaking of coconuts. This is something actually we're really excited about. We love doing these deep dives in general, by the way, and we've been trying to do some deep dives, obviously, that aren't just Star Wars, although our last one, which was the 2-part lightsaber deep dive, I think people really seem to dig. I know I did. But this is one I think has been in the air for a bit, both the person who's a friend of the show, but also everything going on in the world. Last year or this year saw the incredible Pee Wee Herman documentary, which was on the HBO Max. Highly recommended. Incredible 2-part documentary. And then I guess it was the 40th anniversary of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. And so there were multiple screenings. One's, I think at Warner Brothers, they did one. They did one at the Egyptian, all, on original, like film projection. And then they did one, they culminated, I think, with one at the Academy Museum, where the Pee Wee Herman estate gave one of the bikes to the museum to be on display, and that really, I think, for us was the impetus. And so we wanted to do a deep dive on the Pee Wee Herman bike and everything all about it. And our good friend Jay Skwarlo, who I need to say this story before we bring him out. So I first met Jay because he's kind of an expert on TIE Pilot stuff. And so when he first introduced himself to me, he called himself Jay TIE Pilot, and I basically put him into my phone as Jay TIE Pilot, which is, by the way, very similar to the Curb Your Enthusiasm episode that I worked on, where Larry is dating the different people, the women in the wheelchair. So it was like Helen Denise wheelchair. Yes, exactly. So I always think about that when I see Jay in my phone thing. It's Jay TIE Pilot, but I did at some point actually change him from Jay TIE Pilot to Jay Skwarlo, and then for his title or his job now says TIE Pilot. So there you go. Yeah. He graduated to that. But he is not only does he know probably everything in the world about TIE Pilot helmets and the TIE Pilot costumes, which has been a great help to me, but he has been an owner of Pee Wee Herman bikes. He has been a restorer of Pee Wee Herman bikes, and he knows just so goddamn much. It's wonderful. So please welcome to the show, Jay TIE Pilot.
Hey guys.
Hey Jay, excellent shirt, by the way.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
it's a
so
great shirt.
excited I'm so excited to finally be updated in your phone. That's huge.
Jay, if it makes you feel better, I'm still in Dave's phone as Ryan Podcast. Either that or I'm in there as Ryan Wrath of Khan costume.
Ryan
So,
Hercules. Sorry, man.
All
Oh,
right,
right.
well,
That's that guy that wrote Hercules. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. Thank you.
Jay, thank you for coming on. A little bit of spur of the notice just with scheduling and whatnot, so we much appreciate it. Hell of a year for Pee-wee and the bike in general. I mean, obviously you've been into it for a while, but the 40th seems to have, I don't know, shined a spotlight both on Pee-wee and the bike itself in kind of a fun way.
yeah, the 40th anniversary timing with that documentary sort of hit, and it sort of really blew up. And actually, it's one of the Criterion Collection releases this year. Is it's finally going to get 4K.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Great
that's,
cover too. Did you see it? The cover
I
art?
did. I
Yeah, it's
did.
brilliant.
I already have it on order. So yeah, and it
As
should
do
help
I.
with screen matches, which we all know. So
Is it not in? Is this just new to disc or is this also new to 4K?
it's new to 4K. It's been on
Oh
Blu-ray
wow!
for a while.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah,
What a boon!
yeah. So
And-
hopefully we can match some
And
of the
the
bikes.
Criterion of it is new as well, or the Blu-ray
Yes.
was Criterion? Okay, so they're really going all out. That's wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait. That'll be
Very,
really
very
cool.
exciting. I'll put an order in for that.
Just swirls around my big Tim Burton universe. I realize so many of the things that I love in this world just come back to Tim Burton, and even like, you know, Men in Black. I've been looking at a bunch of Men in Black things. Like that was production designed by Bo Welch, who's
Yeah.
the preferred American production designer by Tim Burton, who did Beetlejuice and all that. And it's just it's this like coaching tree. But when you look at me and the things that I'm interested in, it's not like you wouldn't be like, oh, Ryan's the big Tim Burton guy or anything like that. It's just I'm much more
You're not particularly like gothy.
Zany.
You don't look
Yeah,
like
right.
you don't dress like Wednesday Addams. But
right.
yeah,
But
and
now
yet,
I might need
yeah.
to start. I think I'm gonna wear a duster to work tomorrow and try it on here in my
There you
mid 40s, trying a new
Well, I think
identity.
one of the things that's interesting about the Pee Wee Herman movie, certainly that first one, is, again, it has this off sensibility in a really wonderful way, maybe even a pop sensibility. But certainly for the guy who's into horror, other than Large Marge, still the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life to this day,
funny.
it doesn't. It's not what you would also. I mean, it's sort of this other part of his brain, I guess.
It's like pop goth
Yeah.
in a weird way.
Well,
Yeah.
and I mean, I don't think that Paul Reubens gets enough credit for bringing Danny Elfman and Tim Burton together for their first movie together.
Yeah.
And then the production designer was David L. Snyder, who also designed a movie that I think Ryan likes a lot, Blade Runner.
Oh wow! I don't think I put that two and two together.
I
Oh wow!
didn't connect those
Yeah.
things.
Also,
Yeah.
the Bill and Ted movie. So that guy's very
Yeah.
diverse.
Well, yeah. He's got range.
That guy's got range. Yeah. So yeah, that bringing that together. He's the one that said, "I want that director and I want that guy to do the music."
So let's dig into this a little bit. And from the earliest days, before we actually get into the prop itself, obviously the script, and if you watch the documentary, they sort of talk about how, I guess there was a first script that he had written, I think maybe with Phil Hartman, and they kind of threw that in the garbage when this sort of idea of the bicycle kind of hit them, which I thought was a very interesting story, which I had no idea. I had no idea there was this other script, this other draft. So the bike, once they have this script, the bike is clearly super important in this draft. It's written, the entire story is the bike. It's the MacGuffin in a weird way. It's the love interest. It's a little bit of everything. So
It's
when
the ruby slippers of
yes,
the
exactly, yeah. So when do you know when they start talking about like what this bike is going to be, how specific it is written about in the script? Is it described in any way? Do you know like when do they first start thinking and talking about what this bike should be?
Well, it's like I said, the movie was written by Paul Reubens, Phil Hartman, and Michael Vorhall, who's still with us. He's the only one still with us. And in the script, it's described not exactly per part, but it does say, I actually have a copy of the script right over here, but it says, the ultimate bike with streamers and chrome and this and bells and whistles and all that stuff. And if you look at the storyboards for the movie, as it progresses through the storyboards, it does start to look more like the bike as you know it. At the beginning, it's a little simpler. And then it just seemed, I don't know if it was like the design was in process while they were doing storyboards. That's one of the things I really like to find out, that I've kind of hit sort of a brick wall on research, is who designed it, who, all that kind of like nitty gritty as far as the design of it goes.
So, well, I'm sure it was a team effort, but I do wonder,
Yeah.
I'd be curious as to what department sort of handled it. So was it ultimately built by the prop department, do we know, or built by the production design team? I mean, I guess props is under production design, but do we know who was responsible for making it? Do we know that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Basically, what happened? They were, like you said, they were writing a movie that was basically a remake of Pollyanna. I'll go through this real quick because it's
No, please.
We don't need to see the Waynes get killed in the alley again. So it's basically they wrote the script. Paul wanted a bike to get around the lot on. Kept asking, "How can I get a bike? How can I get a bike?" And one of the producers, supposedly Robert Shapiro, brought him a restored Schwinn bicycle, with a red with the tank and all that kind of stuff. And that's the bike that's actually on the cover of the script and on the poster, although it's been airbrushed numerous times to look like the bike in the movie. And the place that built that bike was a shop in Newport Beach, California, called Pedal Pusher. And they were known for restoring antique bikes and that kind of thing. And this is, 1984, before eBay, so it was a little more difficult. And once they decided to go with the bike direction, that shop was commissioned to build 13 identical bikes.
Oh, wow. Okay.
For the production. So they built the base bike and then delivered those to production. And then some of the parts were made by a prop shop called Hand Prop Room in LA.
Yep. Of course.
Yeah. And because the prop master's father owned Hand Prop Room.
Okay.
So there's a connection there. So keep it
Hollywood
in the family.
incestuousness never ends.
Exactly.
They also made the 45 long slide hardballer from Terminator. So there's some range for you in the hand prop room.
There you go.
Bikes and guns. Yeah, nice.
Whatever you need and everything in between.
So when you say they made pieces for the bike, are you talking about like wheel covers or like tanks or like the bell? Yeah.
Yeah, there's quite a few fully custom one-off parts that are only on the Pee Wee bikes. And then there are other parts that are parts of the era that they customized. So the bikes are really weird mishmash of parts themselves. They start with a basic 50s Schwinn frame and just add a whole litany of parts. I've spoken to a guy named Charlie Churchill who actually worked at the shop putting the bikes together. I've actually known him for years. But he, had told me, we used that headlight because they were on sale at the distributor that week. And we used, things like that. So
yeah,
it was just a weird mishmash of parts that no one would think of putting together. So it's helpful when you're trying to identify a real bike because it's just a weird mix.
How visible is the original Schwinn bike under the Pee Wee bike? Is it like instantly recognizable, or have they put so much sort of pizzazz on it that you can't even tell anymore?
Well, I have some pictures if you want to bring some of those up of the stock bike.
Please.
Yeah. So.
Oh yeah.
At the top there, that's a stock Schwinn post-war DX frame is what it's basically called, a post-war DX, and that was made from like 1945 to 1959 in that basic configuration. And then you can see to the right there, all those little pieces are kind of some of the custom parts that were added to the bikes as they outfitted them for the movie. And that picture at the bottom there, where he's just on the plain bicycle at the beginning in the Tour de France, that's kind of how the bikes were delivered to production, just basic stripped down bikes, but they were all red. They all had the same extra parts.
So all of the 13 bikes that were delivered to production were 100% original Schwinns. They weren't making their own copies of the Schwinns, right?
Right.
They were actually...
Well,
oh, okay.
Well, there's two variables in that. There's one that uses a pre-war Schwinn frame, which is just slightly different, and it's only used in that Clown Dream sequence that get the destroyed bike.
Okay.
So that's a pre-war frame for some reason. I imagine when trying to source 13 identical frames before eBay, they kind of had
Yeah.
one of those snuck in there. And then there was one bike that was recently auctioned, the Tarzan stunt bike, the one that does the Tarzan swing.
The swing across the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a custom one-off frame and fork made by Gary Littlejohn, who was a Hollywood stuntman, and he built BMX bikes and choppers, just really a Renaissance man kind of thing. And he built that frame and fork, and that's the only one that's not a Schwinn. All the others are Pro Sport Schwinns.
But is that considered one of the 13, or is that 12 plus 1?
That's 12 plus 1. That was something that when I spoke to Charlie from the bike shop, he said we delivered 13. And when I spoke to the prop master, he was like, we had 14. So I was kind of like trying to consolidate that. And then, oh, okay. The 14th was the Gary Littlejohn.
Gotcha. So 13 plus 1. Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah, 14 total for the movie.
And that just because it needed certain things for the stunt, basically, or maybe it did or didn't, but they still had him build one.
Yeah, according to Stephen Levine, the prop master, they basically they didn't have enough of the custom parts to outfit 14 full bikes, so the parts were being switched between bikes. So bikes show up now when you find a bike missing certain parts or with parts from another bike on it that you can identify in the movie. It's definitely, they were switching parts from bike to bike to bike as filming was going on for their certain, most of the bikes there's 2 main bikes in the movie, and then in the chase scene at the end is when a few more show up for like gags and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So
how hard is this source bike to source now?
You could go on eBay and buy one today.
Really?
Yeah, they're out there. They made the bike, like I said, from 45 to 59, and had a pretty long production run.
Okay.
They made a lot of them. There's slight variances in the frames, which helps identify a couple of the screen use bikes. Mainly, there's a kickstand that's built into the frame on some, and then it's not on others. They use a bolt-on one, so that kind of helps identify the bikes. But you could get one tomorrow. They're not hard to find.
Very cool. All right, so take us through this a little bit. So they basically make 13 of these things. They start with this Schwinn bike, and then they start making these pieces to sort of soup it up, basically, and make it into Pee-wee's ultimate bike, right? So it's
Right.
And you said there's 2 main used ones through the movie, like the one sort of he parks and sort of delights himself with at the beginning of the film. I'm assuming is one of the two main ones.
Yeah, that's the hero bike. I mean, I have some
Yeah, please,
stuff
go
I
for
can
it.
show you here. Basically, I told you this earlier, Dave. I haven't told anybody, so it's an exclusive to the
Exclusive
podcast.
to the Stuff Dreams Are Made of
Exclusive.
audience. Yes, exciting.
Yeah.
Myself and Todd Machin are writing a book on the bike, in process right now. Basically, he's one of the other 5 lunatic bike guys, and in talking, he's done a lot of graphics and was going to write a book. And I've written a lot about the bike and was going to do a book. And then we were kind of like, hey, why don't we? So
And we
That's
put my
fantastic.
chocolate in your peanut butter. Yeah, no, that's
Yes.
excellent.
yeah, so some of his graphics that are going to be in the book sort
Oh,
of
wow.
they're going to explain each part of the bike, what they are, the unique pieces that are used on the bikes, like these the badges on the tank and the different switches on the tank and things like that. And then, the handlebars are full of a bunch of stuff, which is all labeled here as to what they are. And, there's
So great.
there's Mickey Mouse bells they use, and they use two distinct styles of Mickey Mouse bells with 2 different graphics on it, just things like that. So we're going to be able to go through all that stuff, in print, so you can sit down and take a look at, all the different little pieces that are used to make the bike what it is.
Do you have a title for this book yet, or are you guys still playing with it?
We're still playing with it, trying to figure out how not to get sued. So we'll keep you posted, unless Warner Brothers wants to do it. So
Warner Brothers, if you're listening, well, we look forward to it. Obviously, we'll keep our listeners in the loop. That's pretty amazing. I mean, it's really great just to see these different sort of pieces and shapes, which are really just fun to see. Wow. Yeah.
And we probably should have started here, Jay, but do you own an original bike? I know you made crazy, awesome, super accurate replicas of them, but do you have an original?
I had an original that I sold not that long ago through Prop Store.
Okay.
Brought to you by Heritage.
Brought to you by Heritage. And another exclusive, I don't want to jinx it, but I know where there's another one. So that's why that one went. But yeah, and I've actually worked on out of the.
Oh, so you're working on an upgrade.
Chasing one, yeah, and of the real
And
bikes out there.
are you chasing a new one because? And we talked about this on another show, which was a bike that would be more of an upgrade, like something that has more screen time, or was more complete, more like what's the reason for getting rid of the one you got rid of and wanting the one you don't have? What's the reason?
Getting rid of the one that I had was because college is expensive, and my daughter started this year, so that was a big
fair.
A big reason. And plus, I couldn't screen match it. I mean, now the 4K comes out, it'll probably be the main hero bike, knowing how it goes. But I couldn't screen match it, so that one left. And I knew of this bike when I got rid of that bike. I knew of this bike that hasn't surfaced yet when I got rid of this other one, so I knew there was something in the works. So, and of the real bikes out there, I think there's 10 known today, which I can go through each one. I have pictures of each one.
I'm surprised that many are. That was on my list of questions, but that's a pretty good survival rate for.
Yeah, and I've worked on 5 of those so far, so I've got a lot of experience with the real bikes.
Are the 5 that you worked on, have all 5 gone in auction, or were some of them you worked on for just the owners and helped restore?
Yeah, 2 have gone to auction, and 2 have gone to auction so far, and then the other ones are just in private collections.
So generally are these bikes with collectors now, or are they still back with people that worked on the film, or is it a mix of the two?
It's they're mostly with collectors. I'll tell you, post-production, when the movie ended, the bikes were put. Paul took a couple bikes. I know he took the one that went to the Academy Museum that you mentioned, and the hero bike that is the one that he wheels out at the beginning, and you see him cleaning. And then that's the only bike that has opening saddlebags, and that has yet to surface. So I tend to think he also kept that one, but I don't know for sure.
Okay. Certainly makes sense. Yeah.
Is it possible Tim Burton has it? I mean, he kept tons of stuff from his movies, but this is early, so I don't know if he had the juice.
I've asked, and I've tried to find out, and I from what I've heard, no, he doesn't. I know he kept the large Marge that the Cheeto Brothers did. But I don't believe he had a bike. The bikes were put into a warehouse at Warner Brothers. That was subsequently torn down in the mid 90s. And that's when all these bikes left. That's probably 5 of the bikes that I know of. Like, that's the story. Like, it was in this warehouse. They said to clean it out before they tore it down. And that's when I took it home. That's when I grabbed it. This blah, 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 blah. That's the backstory of a lot of them that are out there.
Yeah.
That is the classic. We're a studio. Get rid of what's in that shed. Yeah. So that's hilarious.
Yeah, exactly.
So take us through the bikes, or take us through what you know, because this is I had no idea you knew. I had no idea how many there were, and I had no idea how many had sort of shown themselves and whatnot. So this is beyond fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good rabbit hole to go down, and plus it's a nice. You've seen the movie. It's a nice diversion from what's happening in the world today. So
our grim reality.
Exactly. I just put this in there real quick because there's 2 distinct tank badges. This is like a resin cast thing that's put on the side of the tanks of the bike. There's an oval one, and there's a teardrop one. The teardrop one only shows up on 2 bikes so far, and they're the 2 main bikes used in the movie. So it's kind of helpful for identifying them. Another weird thing I've been trying to get my head wrapped around as far as background on the bike is this tiger siren. The one on the left with the jewel on top of its head is it's a stock piece you could buy. It's some Chinese horn thing. And I actually that's a real one right there.
Oh, wow. Does it have a name? Like, is it a character from animation or something? Or no, just a tiger with a jewel in his head. Gotcha.
Yeah, this siren was offered with a skull on the front. It was offered with an ET head on the front. It was just this weird thing. And they go for a ton of money now, but for some reason,
Wait. Like, what does one go for?
I need to know.
Like,
Yes.
on eBay or something.
$600-700 for a siren. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. So for some reason, production modified it, and then recast it to what you see on the right, where they changed the eyebrows, they got rid of the jewel, and it turned from a tiger into a lion. And I don't know who did it, why it was done. Nobody, and I have, this is off of a scan of a real one right here where they changed it up quite a bit for.
So the jewel one doesn't appear on any bikes at all. That's just the part, or it does appear on one or two.
It appears on here. I'll start with the first bike.
Okay.
The poster bike. This is the bike that you see on the poster, and this is the bike that started it. That was the gift to Paul for him to ride around. This is the first one. This is not counted in the 14 bikes. This is his personal bike. It shows up in the documentary. It's still in his warehouse, but this one just had a normal siren with a light on it with the jewel on it, unmodified. But as you can see on the left, throughout the years on the poster, they have airbrushed it again and again and again and again to look like the bike in the movie. So that's sort of where it all starts. And there's slight differences on the parts on this bike. So that's kind of the first one.
And the poster bike, which we probably would assume, as you said, Paul has or had, that bike doesn't actually appear in the movie as far as we know. Right. Okay. So that was just simply the inspiration, but it did make the poster. Fascinating. Okay.
Right. And it's on the cover of the script, and that's the one. As far as bikes that are known, that are out there, there's the Academy Museum bike that you mentioned earlier. That one lived at the Hollywood Museum for a long time, and then Paul had put it on loan there, and then after he passed, it was in his estate to give it to the Academy Museum for permanent display. So that's where it is now, where they're preparing it for display. And that one I was able to screen match to the scene where he is dressed like a nun and is about to looks down and sees his bike and is all excited to get it back. But you can see there's a couple notches on the fender and some scratches here and there that this bike matches that bike. And it also has the teardrop little badge. Thing. Yeah.
And that tiger lion thing looks unmodified, or am I wrong about that? It is modified. Okay, I just can't see. There's no jewel in that. Gotcha. Okay.
No jewel appears in the movie. They're all the weird casting, which again, nobody seems to know who did it or why they did it, but there it is. So there's that bike that still exists that we know where it is. There's this bike that is currently at the Bicycle Museum of America in Ohio.
I was about to say, where is the Bicycle Museum of Ohio?
Yeah. In Ohio.
Perfect.
In Ohio, yeah. And this bike showed up on eBay in the early 2000s. And actually, it was first listed just as movie prop Schwinn. And I saw it and knew what it was immediately and bid on it. And I lost it, unfortunately. I think it sold for $38,000 then.
Oh. Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was the underbidder, so I just missed it. But that one went to the Bicycle Museum of America, where, as you can see on the right, it was missing missing the headlight, missing the siren, missing the mirrors. It was missing quite a few pieces. And since then, they have put reproduction parts on there and to complete the look for the museum.
Okay.
So, and this bike in the chase scene shoots the oil out of the bottom of the bags. That's the little.
Okay. Sort of the James Bond of it all. Yeah.
Right. And there's a thing in the script and in the storyboards where he's supposed to dump out a bunch of tacks to give flats to the chase bicycles or whatever. And this actually has tack bike written in the side one of the bags.
That's cool.
But I don't believe that scene was ever filmed. But it's in the script and it's in the storyboards and it has tack bike written on it. But I don't think they ever filmed it.
Have you ever gone to the Bicycle Museum of America to see this bike?
I haven't. This is one of the only ones that's out there. That there's two that exist that I've never laid hands on. So this is one of them. So hopefully someday I'll make it out there.
If you do, I don't know, I think the Football Hall of Fame is also there in Ohio. So, and the
Canton.
Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So you could do all three: bicycle, rock and roll.
Should we just do a big Stuff Dreams Are Made of roadshow, Dave, and just all three of us do a little live tour around Ohio? Bard can film us. We can make a little documentary series about it. It'd be really charming. Let's give the people what they want.
I'm in. I'm definitely in. So there's that bike that exists.
Okay.
This bike is known as the eBay bike. This one was
another eBay bike.
Yeah, another eBay bike. This one was super weird. It popped up with a ridiculously low buy it now, like $3,000 or something. It was ridiculous, and it was up for an hour, and it was purchased, and it's legit. It exists. The person got it for that amount of money. The story was that it hung in a pizza parlor. It got stolen. Then it hung in a pizza parlor. They took it out and put it in storage to do remodeling. The storage unit got broken into. The bike got stolen, got paid up by insurance, disappeared, was recovered. Then the insurance company is the one that recovered. Once it was recovered, it went to the insurance company, and they're the ones that put it on eBay. So.
This is why insurance
That's
companies...
like Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Exactly.
That's like the plot of the movie there.
Yeah.
But also it's why our premiums are so high, because these idiots sold a bike for $3,000 that they could have sold for a lot more money and lowered our premiums. But anyway, so do we know where this bike is today? Do you know where it is? We do. Okay. In a private collection? Are we allowed to say that?
It's in another storage locker.
It's in a Mexican restaurant. It's in a taco bar. Yeah.
It's not publicly known, but it does exist in a private collection. So,
and you've handled that one?
No, I have not handled that one.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the two. Those are the two. Both eBay bikes I have not gotten a handle on. This is another bike that showed up. Now, during my research, the Academy Museum or the Academy Library here in Los Angeles has all the set photos.
Oh.
Peter Sorrell was a set photographer, and he took tons of photos. And there's probably 2 manila folders 4 inches thick of contact sheets of every photo taken during production. And I've gone through them several times looking for screen matches, and I've found some interesting.
Is that at the Herrick Library, Jay?
Yes.
Yeah. Great resource, by the way. Publicly, you have to be in LA. You have to go to LA, but publicly available. And if there's movies that you're interested in, I used to go in there and read scripts. I went in there and did a bunch of Tombstone research back in the day. Great resource, old school reference library resource.
Yeah, I'm surprised more people don't take advantage of it. Maybe they don't know, but yeah, I just...
A lot of people don't know how to read, but go on.
Well, these are pictures. I just look at pictures.
Oh, well, that's easy then. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And
maybe you should try reading books instead of burning them.
I was elected to lead, not to read. So this bike I actually found in the behind the scene photos. It was on a sort of a hydraulic contraption with no back wheel, and it would do wheelies. So basically, anytime you see him pop the front end of the bike up, it's this bike, but it's not a full bike. So it's sort of like it was half a bike on a rig that would, and this bike was found in Southern California. The strangest story. It was a friend of mine who collects the Stingray style bikes. Went to pick up a Stingray bike and saw this frame and whatever sitting in the corner and asked about it and was like, oh yeah, somebody was going to throw it away. I took it. I'm going to paint it black and ride it. And he knew what it was initially and managed to get it. So it was just found through a random Craigslist ad.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is how it was found. Yeah. This is how it was found, missing a lot of the unique parts. Did have the chain guard, which is a unique piece. And then here it is as it sits today. It's been completed with all the goodies.
So the owner did the full restoration of it to get it into that look.
Yes.
There.
He was actually in the middle of building a replica when he found it, which is a common story, which is where I found mine. I was in the middle of a replica and I found mine. So
he had already built a lot of the parts or had the access for the replica and then just put them onto the original. Wow. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So That bike's
I
pretty
think
cool.
I would have called this the wheelie bike, not the gusset bike. I don't mean to upset your nomenclature, but I think I would have called it the wheelie bike.
Well, it was called the gusset bike because you can see it has these welded in strengthening gussets to sort
Yeah,
of.
no one knows what a gusset is, but okay.
All right. All right. Fair enough. It was called that before I found it
Okay, fair
before I
enough.
knew it was a
You
wheelie
didn't
bike.
know it was the wheelie bike. I
I'll
gotcha.
call it the wheelie bike from now on.
So when you let the owner know, like you told him, like you've got the wheelie bike, I mean, that must be a pretty great, like, I mean, obviously better if it's your own bike, but pretty cool to let someone know, that thing that you kind of knew was from the movie, but you weren't sure where. It's here, like that locked in sort of. That's pretty cool. That's a hell of a thing.
That's neat.
Yeah.
Well, you know how that works with your tie helmet.
Yes.
I'm
No. Exactly.
I'm like
Yeah.
the screen match fairy. I go around screen matching things for people.
As long as they're bikes or tie pilot helmets, yeah.
or tie pilot
Very,
helmets.
very limited, but a lot of matching within that limited area.
Exactly.
Very cool. Okay.
So far, you're of little use to me, Jay. But
I'm working on it.
Let's keep
I'll find you
going.
something.
Okay.
And then we have this bike. This bike has a really cool backstory too. This is currently with Warner Brothers Archives.
And they showed this one. I don't know if that picture is from
It is.
this, but okay, this is from. They did a 40th anniversary screening. Everybody did, as I said, everyone did 40th anniversary screenings. This was theirs, where you got. I think you got a ticket. You got to see the movie. You got to like tour the museum and whatnot. And they had, I think, Pee-wee food and whatnot. But anyway, and they had the bike on display. Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a few of those, and I've gone out of town maybe 2 weekends all year, and they have managed to been all weekends where Pee-wee stuff was going on. So I haven't got to go to any of them. But
Perfect.
this bike, the Warner Brothers Archives owns now, and this is also the exact same bike that was featured on Cinema Relics with Dan's site.
Oh, okay.
He previously owned the bike. And this bike also showed up at I believe it was Profiles in History auction years ago and was pulled. Paul's sort of notorious for really keeping everything close to the chest and wanting to keep everything and, not letting stuff out, which is why some of the bikes I think are starting to come out now because he's no longer with us to stop things. But he basically stopped the auction on this bike.
Oh, interesting.
Interesting.
And then Dan was able to get it in a private #private deal.
Nice.
Yeah, but this one again was in the warehouse of Warner Brothers. A producer from a TV show that was working on the lot got it, and then he actually brought it in for Paul to autograph when Paul did a guest spot on Ally McBeal.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amazing.
And Paul at that point
This story just gets better and better and better.
better.
Yeah.
Well, Paul had refused to sign it, saying, "That's my bike. Where did you get it?" And then once it popped up at auction, "That's my bike. What is happening?" And so but now Warner Brothers owns it. So.
And how much of what's on this bike was added like sort of after the fact, like, or did the guy get it with a lot of the accessories and accoutrements on it already?
This bike and the Academy Museum bike are the two most complete ones known
Oh,
so
wow.
far.
Okay.
The only thing missing on this bike when it was found is the little fin on the top of the bag back there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That was missing when the bike was found. And the story goes they went to, I believe it was Hand Prop Room to get one made. And Hand Prop Room was like, "Oh, sure." And they had the sheet that the originals had been cut out of, like with the pieces missing. So basically they cut him a new one from the exact same
Perfect.
stuff.
I mean,
so
there you go. I mean, that's what you want.
yeah, that and the mud flaps they use on the bikes are hot garbage. They're made out of basically the same stuff like a stormtrooper helmet's made out of, like a milk jug. So they break and
They go quickly. Yeah.
They're garbage. Yeah, they're absolutely. I mean, this is an original one right here. It's just, it's
Oh, wow.
garbage. They're horrible. And so that no current bike has the original mud flaps. They're all gone.
Got it.
This one has a little chunk of one behind the fender still, but that one's the most complete one, and Warner Brothers has it now. So
Cool.
that's a cool
Fitting.
bike. Yeah. It's a good for them to have a bike. That's a great one for them to have.
Do you know, subsequent to the screenings, do they have it in the museum, in their museum at the end of the tour? Is it on display? Do you know, or do they just bring it? I wonder if they just brought it out or if it's on display. Well, we'll find that out if we can. Yeah, very cool.
Yeah. I don't know what their plans are with it. This is the one that I owned. This one was found hanging high in the rafters of the Hand Prop Room.
Oh, so they had one after all those years.
They had one, yeah, that was, full on. It was there, and basically had it verified by the guy that built, Charlie at the place that bought them or that built them, and he verified, yeah, that's definitely one of them. So that bike, I completed it with replica parts, and it went off to prop store not that long ago.
And you said this bike you were never able to screen match where it was used, but okay.
Most of the bikes are not screen matched. There's only a couple. Like I said, in the film, they use two main bikes the whole time: the hero bike and then the Academy bike. It's 90% of the movie is those two bikes, and then the chase they show up, but you only see little glimpses here and there. And
right.
It's super, and they all sort of match, and add that to the fact they were switching parts between bikes. Even if you match a part, it isn't necessarily on the same bike, so it's really hard. So that was that one. I miss it. I'm going to stare at it for a while.
Although I wonder, Jay, if the 4K, because 4K is really magical. It's almost a bigger leap than Blu-ray was from DVD, just in terms of screen matching.
Yeah, and I'm screen matching these. It's going to come down to nicks and cut and chips and weird little crap like that.
And you have to be looking at the core bike, not the parts, right?
Right. Yeah. So that's going to be, I think, a huge help. Like for example, the bike in the Tour de France at the beginning was probably outfitted later, and I can't ID it. So maybe that'll help finding a chip or something. And then we go on to the Tarzan bike, which is the stunt bike, that one-off Gary Littlejohn.
So
frame.
this is bike number 14, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can see how the down tube here is straight, where the others sort of have like an S curve to it, a little more gentle S curve to it. And this fork right here is fully rigid. It doesn't spring like the other ones. The spring is on here just for looks. So this bike was used when he does the endo on the curb, when he says, I meant to do that. This was used on the jumping the house at the end where he jumps over the house. And also when he does the Tarzan swing here, that one. And it was ridden by Corey Eubanks, the stuntman, Bob Eubanks' son, who was his stunt double in the movie. And then this one I restored this one for the owner. The owner had purchased it at a Butterfield's auction in the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah. So I restored it for him, added missing parts, got it all prettied up, and it recently sold to the Alamo. This is the one that is on display.
Okay. Oh, very cool. So this is the one that you'll now be able to see at the Alamo. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, which is cool. Like I was pretty excited to have something I worked on show up at the Alamo.
So is this the one?
What is the significance of the Alamo and Pee Wee Herman?
Well, I mean, if you've seen the movie, which you claim to have.
Yes, I did. Am I missing something?
You are. When he goes to the psychic, she tells him
the basement of the Alamo,
bike is
right?
in the basement of the Alamo.
Okay.
Yeah, and then he travels to the Alamo to try and find the bike, and there's no basement in the Alamo. And apparently, if you're a tour guide there, you get asked, where's the basement? 17,000 times a day. So I think they finally just decided it would be cheaper to buy a bike.
I thought it was. I actually gained, not that I had respect for the Alamo, but I gained a lot, even more respect for the Alamo for buying one of these bikes. Like that to me is what museums and sites should be doing. When you go to like a site that's like key to a movie and they make no mention of it, it's infuriating. I actually find it like insane that they don't mention. It's like you go to like, I don't know. It's like if you went to like Mount Rushmore and they didn't mention North by Northwest. You know what I mean? Like it would be it's insanity. And so the fact that like the Alamo Museum is fully embracing it. So this is the one that you restored. Is this the one that sold through Van Eaton Galleries, or is this a different one? Yeah, okay.
No, that's the one that went through
So
Van Eaton.
the Alamo Museum either won it or somebody that won it for them and donated it, and now it's at the Alamo. And you can see it there. That's, again, fantastic to them.
Fantastic,
Yeah, it's so cool.
How much restoration did it need? Like how many, like what was missing, or if to your to your memory? Yeah.
It had basically these side bags were with it, but they're really old, bad. They're reproductions. They're not real, but this top bag is real.
Oh.
It didn't have the skirt guards back here. This was added before I got. It's not screen used, but somebody else added it. They didn't want to change it. It was missing this little siren. It was missing the fins. It was missing the siren. The streamers. Little but big stuff that all adds up. Sort of, once you get it. I have a before picture I can send in to you guys if you want. But yeah, I mean the core bike was there, and it's without a doubt the Tarzan bike. So
yeah, we'll put it in. Here's the before picture. Ooh,
yeah,
look at that. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like
cool.
I said, super cool. It's at the Alamo, which is great. And then the bikes that appear, those are the ones we just talked about. Those are the bikes that we know exist. Those are out there in the wild, 100%. They're still here. There's two more that I can't show pictures of that do exist. That aren't.
So wait, so how many was that we just looked at? That was the 5?
That was 8, I believe.
That was 8, and then 2 you can't show, so that's 10. And then this is the hero bike, the other hero bike. So this would be 11, and this is the one we assume / think that Paul probably has in his collection. Okay.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, like I said, this one has the opening bags where he pulls the chain out of. Mm-hmm. All the other bikes, this is just one piece with a latch bolted on the side. The lid does not open. Every other set of bags that surface does not have open bags.
Is that a found piece or is that a custom piece?
Full custom. The whole bags, the top and side bags are vac formed out of really thick plastic with chrome tape for the little details here. They're definitely hand sculpted because they're different from side to side. So it's really a cool, unique piece that.
Great.
And in speaking to one of the people that worked on building the parts for the bike, he said he would be surprised if he built more than 5 or so sets of bags.
Interesting.
I can account for about 7 on screen, but they may have changed ones for different gags. Yeah. So there definitely weren't 14 sets of bags, which is why a lot of the bikes that have shown up do not have bags. So. Unfortunately, that's a hard piece to come by. But yeah, this is the hero bike. We got to assume Paul has it. So that's one you can put on screen, but we don't know where it is.
Right.
These two we also don't know. I kind of assume that they're both dead. The first one is the bike that appears in the Clown Dream sequence. It's very Tim Burton-y with the kooky doorways and the clowns and the doctor that comes in to try and save the bike after the T-Rex eats it. And that one, if you look at it close, the frame is bent. The parts are all messed up. This is the pre-war frame. Maybe somebody saved it as a souvenir, but it probably just got trashed. I don't know. It hasn't shown up. And then it's also the other bike that hasn't shown up that's unique is at the very end of the movie when they're watching the show at the drive-in, and Francis sits on the bike, and Pee-wee launches him into space with the ejector seat. There's a large seat post that comes out, and I spoke to one of the special effects guys, and he said they basically cut the tube out of the frame and replaced it with an air cylinder. So that one hasn't shown up either. And that would be pretty easy.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that would be pretty easy to tell that's what it. That identify that bike just by that. Yeah. But those bikes have not shown up yet, so they might be out there, they might not. I don't know. Oh, that's
the hunt continues.
Yeah, that's my little thing there at the end there. So if you want to get a hold of me,
Jay's Bikorama. So yeah. if somebody comes in from the street, like say I just was like, I love Pee Wee Herman, I want a full soup to nuts Pee Wee bike. Is that a service that you offer?
I mean, I have a replica, which is where this all started. I built a replica. There's a huge thread on the replica prop forum, 200 and some odd pages, of people building replica bikes. And I built one sort of rookie mistake. I built it going off of what the replica guy said. And then I looked at the bike and was like, wait a minute, why is this a little... And so that sent me down the rabbit hole. So basically I had a bunch of leftover parts after I changed my replica to be more accurate. So I sold one replica to a very nice lady who loved it, and it's on display in her living room. But I don't really do it. I've been restoring some of the screen use bikes. That's all there are people out there. There's a place called Big Adventure Bikes. A guy named Tyler, Facebook, that does a lot of them. There's a guy named Abe Luego that does really great replicas. So there's a couple good replica guys out there.
Who's making the best one? Who's making the Ferrari? But you're not doing them.
That's true. I mean,
you just told me you won't do it.
Maybe he'll do it for Ryan. Maybe he'll do it for you. Maybe
you're just trying to get me to bid.
Yeah. No, I mean, somebody throws enough money at me, of course. But no, I mean, as far as who's making the best replica, it's so I don't want to throw anybody under the bus or put anybody on a pedestal. There's plenty of great ones out there that are. In my old age, I've developed the it's close enough theory for replicas, and so they're all really nice. There's a lot of good replicas out there, and there's a couple bikes on display in museums that claim to be real that are also very nice replicas that I'm not going to really call out directly, but basically if you didn't see it here.
Oh, interesting. So there are museums saying we have it, but fascinating. Okay.
Interesting.
In my opinion, the only real bikes are the ones I just showed you.
Okay. And the museum bikes are the Alamo, the Bike Museum, and the Academy Museum. So do your
those are real
museum math. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Those were the museum bikes that were identified in this podcast.
Yeah.
So so I saw on a family vacation. We were in Hawaii, and we went to the Museum of Fake Bikes, and we saw a Pee Wee Herman, and they said it was real. You're saying it's not real.
Well, strangely enough, that one is real. It's very weird. No, but
they said they got it out of the basement of the Alamo.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's certain tells and there's certain things that I've been able to find out about the bikes that make it pretty easy to tell right away. I mean, there's basically a lot of the people know what basic parts are used on the bikes, but there's slight variances in those parts.
And that's where you find that's wrong or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's little variances between the individual screen used bikes, and there's also things that are consistent through them. But there's some things that don't change, and there's some things on the replicas that are just wrong, but that's fine.
But see, this goes back to my point, and I'm glad you said it. And first of all, really impressive, Jay, the fact that you've gone this deep on a prop that, everybody's out there making lightsabers and TIE pilot helmets, but, to go deep on a prop that's this big and kind of this, beloved and such a relic of the 80s and, that character and everything. It's really impressive. But this is the difference between being with all respect to our RPF guys, which I love the RPF because it is a useful font of knowledge. There's a difference between looking at a bunch of photos of things and actually handling the piece and taking it apart and looking on the inside, and also doing counterexamples of seeing, oh, this one was here and this one was there, and they put gussets on this one because it needed to be strengthened,
right?
And we needed to explain to people what gussets are. That's the stuff that comes out of this kind of. And look, not everybody can do this. Not everybody is going to be able to be hands-on with a Pee Wee bike. We get that. We're not blaming you for not doing it, but there is this sort of replica guy kind of nose in the air, like I know everything, and a lot of these people have just looked at a bunch of pictures and the film and they haven't handled the stuff, and that's where you really get this level of knowledge from. So
right, yeah,
wanted to make
actually, I have one here that's sort of an example of that I would show you, like the horn tank used on the bicycle. It's basically a Schwinn DX horn tank. On the original bikes, they're metal. On an original Schwinn, I should say, they're metal. But on the film screen use bikes, this is a real production made tank. It's a fiberglass casting with wood blocks used to connect it. So rather than using an actual Schwinn tank, they made a mold of it and then made copies of it. So on the outside, you would say, oh, that's a Schwinn DX tank. But when you actually handle the real thing, you can see.
Right. A photo just makes it look like a real one, and not the realization that they copied it and then made changes.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what they used on all the screen.
Can I ask a painfully dumb question?
I wouldn't expect anything less.
If it's a bicycle, what is a tank? What is it a tank of?
It's just a aesthetic piece. A lot of them had horns in them back in the 50s. It was sort of a style. The bike has roots in the 30s and the 50s, where it's deco and everything's very,
Okay, overdone.
overdone.
Okay.
And yeah,
And also maybe kind of looking like a motorcycle, even
That's
though
what
it's
I
a
was
bicycle.
thinking. Like they would be where the gas went in a motorcycle, but you don't need that in the bike. But they still have the part. Maybe I don't know. Yeah, that's where my brain went. Yeah.
Yeah, and I collected antique bicycles since the 80s. Like this is sort of right in my wheelhouse. I'm a bicycle guy forever, so this is sort of like combining the two, the movie prop and the bicycle thing in one. So a lot of the bicycle stuff I know about, like transfers.
Are there crazy rare, like, I guess, Schwinn's beyond movie bikes, like, or like are there bikes that are? Oh, there are. Okay, wow.
Yeah, there's bikes from the main antique bicycle I collect was a brand called Elgin, which was Sears bicycles pre-World War II. And some of those, there's $15,000 antique bikes out there that, when it sold, it was the same price as a used Model T. So they didn't sell a lot of them, even less survived, scrap, the sheet metal drives of the war. So yeah, there's a bunch of really, there's a site called the Cave, Classic Antique Bicycle Exchange website with a really active forum. And there's a lot of antique bike information there.
So were you already into bikes and then got into the Pee-wee bike as you sort of got more into movie props and it just kind of came together? That's cool. Are there any antique bikes with mounted with a monkey radiator cap, like on the front or on the tank at all? Have you ever seen that? And could we make one?
We could definitely make one.
I think Jay's bikes could be in for a custom build here, Dave.
Yeah, I get the monkey radiator. We could resculpt that tiger into a monkey this time.
Now we're talking.
Yeah.
Jay, have you gotten to see the Academy bike, or you've just seen the pictures so far?
I've seen the bike in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Does it need anything, or was it pretty in your mind?
It's missing the mud flaps, and at some point in its life, someone has replaced the tires with all the screen use bikes use a tire called now I'm drawing a blank, lightning dart tire from the 50s, basically. And at some point, these tires have been replaced with like a studded balloon, generic Chingshin, like overseas made tire. So
but that's fixable.
I've already been in discussions with them about such a thing.
Did they know, or you had to tell them? If you don't mind me asking.
Of course, I had to tell them. Hey, this is what's wrong with.
But they are open to fixing it for the display.
I hope so.
They seem to be.
So.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they seem to be. They seem to be. But
I
yeah,
hope so too. Yeah.
That bike's just like a great. That one's so complete, and I can put it on screen numerous times. So that's a really great bike to have on.
That sounds like that's
display.
the one, right?
Outside of that hero with the opening bags that you first see at the beginning of the movie, there's
presuming that even still exists, right?
Exactly. That bike, also the frame on that bike is one that has a bolt-on kickstand, and it's one of the only ones in the movie. It's basically the only one in the movie that shows up with that. So again, that bike with opening bags and a bolt-on kickstand just has not surfaced. I have to assume it's somewhere in Paul's warehouse, but.
He kept so much stuff that I have to assume that as well, but I guess you never know. But yeah,
who knows? I mean,
and he seemed to have such ownership over the bikes that you would have to imagine that he took the best ones home, right?
Yeah, I would have to think so. Yeah, he was, like I said, very protective of his stuff.
And by the way, not to get to number 15, but in theory, he may still have the original poster bike as well. It's possible.
He does.
Which, yeah.
No, he 100% does. It shows up in the documentary. You can see it.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
When they're scanning around in there, there's two bikes show up in that documentary, and one of them is the poster bike, and the other one is sometime in the 90s, Spike TV Awards had Paul ride out on a replica of the bike, a bad replica using all the wrong stuff, but enough to convey that it's his bike, and he has that bike still, too.
Very cool.
But yeah, the poster bike does exist. He does have it. So, and he actually said it in a couple podcasts before that. So that's it. It's there, which is cool. That's an amazing piece of movie history right there.
That's epic.
Wow.
Jay, after all this, should you consider changing your name to Jay Pee-wee Bike?
Jay Pee-wee Bike? Well, no, I don't think we'll change it to that. My bike name I'll go by just my real name, and then Jay TIE Pilot for the Star Wars stuff, I guess. I don't know. Call me whatever you want.
Okay. I'll put you in my phone as Jay Pee-wee Bike.
That's fine.
Because I probably care about these more than TIE Pilot elements, I would say.
How dare you? How dare you, sir?
I'm just saying. I think the bike is very cool. There's a million Star Wars helmets. This bike is this is the coolest bike in cinema history.
It
right?
it is a hell of a prop. I mean, it's a hell of a prop. It's because it's not just a prop. It's a prop. It's a plot device. It's the story drive. It's really.
Yeah,
it's
I
almost,
like your thing, David, that it was it's the love interest. It's the stakes character in it.
Yeah, it drives the whole plot as the search, the road trip looking for the bike, and it's just such a joy to watch the movie. Like, it holds up. It's super funny, and the bike or the movie is just always a smile on my face.
For no particular reason, I had not watched it in a long time, probably 10 years or so. So seeing it again for the 40th, I was just like, oh God, I had forgotten how much I do really like it, him, everything. But that first movie, boy, oh boy, yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
We had watched I hadn't seen it since the 90s, and we watched my wife and I watched the Pee-wee documentary together, and we're really nostalgic, and like she and I grew up, and we were younger than you guys. We really grew up on Pee-wee's Playhouse. That was the thing for us. We had a deep memory of that. I showed the first episode of that to my kids, and I think they thought they were in like a fever dream. and then I was like, okay, well, this is a whole thing to explain, but let's watch the movie. So I was like, oh, I don't know, but let's go for it. So I threw on the movie. My little one was freaked out before Large Marge even came on and left the room, but my older one stayed in and really enjoyed it and laughed at a bunch of the things. She still does the little joke that he does at the end when they're doing the drive-in movie theater screening of his film, and he's like walking around, and everybody's all the people from his past are saying basically how much they love it, and the French whatever film person or film critic or whatever says merci beaucoup, and he goes merci bebe. my eldest still loves that, merci bebe.
Yeah, I mean, I showed my 6-year-old both the Playhouse and the movie, and he went bananas for the movie to the point that we did Trunk or Treat, which was a whole Pee-wee's Playhouse theme where I built Conky and Cherry and everything for the whole trick or treat thing, and I built him his own replica. He's got a little replica bike. And,
awesome.
Yeah, and he has the suit.
Did he dress up as Pee-wee? I was
yeah. And it's fully like, it's not me like, you're going to dress up like Pee-wee and like it. It's like, he's like fully 100% was like, it was all him. So that's great. He loves it.
Same daughter, definitely trying to get into daddy's good graces. My little one does not care. This was not, nothing was done. There was no coercion, anything. She's being a Man in Black for Halloween.
Oh, wow, that's cool. Awesome. And an easy costume.
Yeah, we put it together for like 65 pounds.
Wow.
I had shipped out from my storage in the East Coast. I have one of the really nice replica neuralizers.
Perfect.
So in a box, so that's being sent out to us. So that she's actually a bunch of the girls at school are doing a bunch. I mean, a handful of them were doing it. So they go on March in the Parade together as Men in Black, but they're all girls. So I just think it's great. They're all getting black nails. It's like it's very funny. So, but she's gonna lead the crew with the functioning neuralizer.
You're not gonna let them use the real one?
No.
All right, that's fine.
It's too big, Jay. It's large. It's 30% larger. It wouldn't work. It would destroy the illusion.
In a
They're
small
children. They have small hands.
It'll look like 90%. 190. Yeah, it'll look way too big. That's very funny. I don't. Is there a game to be had? I guess this was fantastic, Jay. Other than the bike. How about that? Other than the bike. If you could have any prop from Pee-wee's Big Adventure. By the way, do you like the second movie at all?
I think I've seen it maybe once. It didn't.
There's no bikes in it.
It didn't land.
No, I know. I did not. No, I saw it back in the day, and my memory of it is I did not care for it, and I have never gone back. I was sort of curious.
Yeah, I mean, popular consensus is that it just completely missed the mark. And in the documentary, he's like, I don't understand why people didn't like it, but
yeah.
Part of me wants to revisit
I actually thought in the documentary there was an element of I guess I thought he sort of maybe got it, that it didn't work. I don't know. That was my sense of it, but yeah.
I think he got it and was bummed by it.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he realized that to me, and whether this is the documentarian sort of editorializing, it felt to me like in the sort of release of it and the response, whether it was immediately or the long aftermath at being able to think about it, he realized that messing with all of the creative alchemy that went into the first one and being so maybe too much hands-on in the second one messed with it in a way that, like, whatever magic was working, that
and again, I with no offense to the late Mr. Reubens, the estate, or anything like that, it definitely seemed like the second one was a little bit of an ego issue. That's my take on it. It is sort of the Wayne's World 2 of Pee-wee Land. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of want to revisit it and kind of don't want to revisit it. Yeah. So we'll see.
No, maybe best not to. Or the 40th anniversary in a couple of years. So from the original Pee-wee's Big Adventure, any prop but not a bike, no non-bike related. If you could have anything from the film, what would you have?
God, there actually, you think there's not many, but there is. There's the big clown that he ties the bike up to. There's a bunch of weird crap. The Texas hitchhiking sign is the first one that popped in my head, and that one actually exists. So somebody does have it, like it did surface. That and the hitchhiking thumb were both sold, so those two exist, or maybe the X-ray spec glasses. But I'll go for the Texas sign.
Very cool, very cool. Ryan, how about you?
I mean, I go costume because it's just so,
classic,
it's so iconic.
Just classic.
But I would say, like, something specific to, and forget, because I'm not in the movie the way you are, Jay, but something from the tequila scene. Was he at some point? Does he put a hat on or something in that scene that's specific to that scene?
He puts a vest on. That would be
the vest.
He puts one of the biker vests on. That would be a great one.
Yeah. There you go. Because that's the meme, I think, of other than like the bike and just Pee-wee himself. I feel like that scene is the meme. That's the thing that, like, when we were 7 or 8 on the in the schoolyard, that's the dance that we were all doing, even though most of us had never seen the movie because our parents weren't demented. We just knew it from older brothers and popular culture and whatever. So everybody was doing
the platform shoes.
I think about
those shoes a lot, very much. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. I would go. I'm going. If I could get Tim Burton's Large Marge piece or some other, I would take a Large Marge
the horror piece
storyboard or something. Like I said, that is ingrained into my soul.
It's a really tall clay model. It's big.
Well, but I mean, I would take, God, if there was some version of, I wonder if there is like a storyboard where you could imagine Tim Burton having seen a lot of his sketches. Like if there is a Tim Burton version of Large Marge, God, I would kill for that. Like a hand-drawn Tim Burton Large Marge. That would be even better than the model that I would have to steal from him. But yeah,
that would be cool.
But that would, like I said, yeah, it is so in my soul, like it's burned into my memory. So yeah, that's it for me. Well, this was just fantastic, Jay. Thank you so much. This was really great. A hell of a deep dive. Man. Yeah, a hell of a deep dive. You want to say where they can find you again? You want to just say your email address or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, it's just jaysbikorama@gmail.com.
Especially if you've got one, you want to sell them one, or you got one that needs restoration. He's
or one
your man.
The unidentified, the missing ones, right to the podcast.
Or if you worked on the movie and want to get your voice in the book that we're working on,
yeah,
by
please.
all means, jaysbikorama@gmail.com.
And we'll let people know when the book is actually, I guess, gettable. I don't know if you'll figure out. Are you going to think about a Kickstarter or anything, or are you thinking about just doing it?
No, we're just doing it. Okay. We already both started our own, so we're just going to combine them together. Fantastic. And Todd's working on the graphics. Should be great.
Well, we look forward to it when it comes out. Please watch all of our videos. There'll be a whole bunch of new YouTube videos for the Heritage Stuart Berkowitz auction on the 24th. And then that'll be followed up by their big Walking Dead auction. That's coming as well. Plus, we're going to do a little dip into comic art when we talk about the Keith Fromm collection at Heritage as well. So that's all coming up on the podcast. Please like and follow us on your podcast app. Follow us also on social media at Props Podcast. Anything else, Ryan, that you can think of?
Write us at dreamsaremadeofpodcast@gmail.com and join us for more heavy auction coverage coming up. And but we have a bunch more of these like little interstitial episodes about actual, prop content and prop knowledge while we pay to keep the lights on. But we've got a bunch of great stuff coming up, and we should be probably airing, I think, every week through the end of the year. So you have that to look forward to, as do Dave and I.
Bye.